Sometimes viewers mention that my drawing style resembles that of a printer. While this isn't entirely accurate, I must admit that there are certain techniques where drawing in sections is necessary. However, it's somewhat different from being a literal printer. Just recently, I came across a video where someone truly drew like a printer. I'll provide a link to the video below if you'd like to take a look. This got me wondering if I could attempt something similar myself. In this video, you'll witness the entire process. And I'll also share some tricks on how to cleverly mislead an unsuspecting viewer. Let's get started. When I posted this portion of my drawing on my social media, it sparked a guessing game among my followers. Who could I possibly be drawing? There were various guesses, but no one managed to guess correctly. Because I'm going to draw Mr. Bean. My challenge is to attempt to replicate his photo in a manner resembling that of a printer, using horizontal strokes from top to bottom. Essentially, this technique is similar to pointillism, which I've already showcased on my channel, but this time, it's done all at once, without outlines or other forms of preparation. The chosen photograph suits this approach well due to its simple hairstyle and numerous wrinkles, which make it easier to divide the drawing into sections. To make things a bit easier, I printed the photograph of the same size and placed it nearby. This helps with assessing the proportions, especially the height, using the plumb line method. If you're not familiar with it, you can see it here. That's all the preparation we need. Now let me explain the drawing process itself. The most critical aspect when aiming to mimic the workings of a printer is to draw without using outlines right from the start. This may be a bit daunting for many beginners, but it's not as intimidating as it may seem. Those who regularly watch the channel may recall the technique of drawing from spots. Personally, I find it much more challenging to work in sections, and not just any sections, but in a particular order, forming a sort of ladder from the top to the bottom. You can see this in action as I work on the hair. Drawing with extremely fine lines wasn't something I excelled at. I always preferred using wider sections because it's more comfortable and convenient for creating strokes. Regarding hatching, just as in conventional drawing, I made an effort to shape it according to the form. The only exception was in places where I could forego a vertical stroke, in which case I avoided it as much as possible. Fortunately, such strokes were absent in the hair. Another challenging aspect was capturing the tonal variations, or more precisely, building them up right away. Going back too far, upwards, was not a printer-like approach. The hair, once again, serves as an excellent example of this challenge due to its dark color. Naturally, I built up the tonal values all at once, but not in a single layer. Instead, I applied multiple layers, similar to a conventional drawing. This was necessary to achieve the desired smoothness, and I focused on small sections at a time. Additionally, I occasionally returned to the row above to connect it with a new row. The main difficulty here was in correctly gauging the correct color, and this would have been extremely challenging without a black and white printout to reference. The most challenging aspect was accurately assessing the proportions. Typically, I have no trouble with this, as my eye measurements are reasonably accurate. However, when drawing in this manner, it becomes quite a demanding task. But I've learned a few tricks that I'll share in the second part of the video. I'd also like to emphasize that this isn't the recommended way to draw. It's perhaps the least efficient approach since it violates most of the classical fundamental principles of drawing, such as starting from the simple and progressing to the complex, relying on a linear sketch, and simultaneously working on all parts of the drawing. These principles are what make your life, and mine, much easier. However, in this particular technique, they don't apply. For a more in-depth exploration of a similar technique, you can refer to this video, but I suppose I've already overwhelmed you with my ramblings. Let's now take a look at the outcome of this drawing process. In my opinion, the result turned out pretty good. There are a few small things that could be improved, especially when compared to the original or my drawing done in a similar way. However, it's important to take into account the complexity of the task. Now let me share a neat trick for clever artists out there. I didn't come up with this myself, but rather stumbled upon it on Jazza's channel, an American art blogger whom I occasionally follow. This trick revolves around screen capture. Let me show you. To get started, we'll need to create a drawing using any graphic editing software. We need to make it semi-transparent and save it in PNG format. Next, grab any camera capable of streaming video to your computer in real time. For me, that's a webcam. Install it and fire up OBS or a similar video capture program. This software will record video from the camera and will also need to overlay that very drawing onto it. And there you have it, we're ready to begin. We'll be sketching on paper, with everything appearing on the screen in real time. We can glance at the screen to align our work with the reference photo. This process somewhat resembles using a standard graphics tablet. This method allows for achieving impressive results. But I want to emphasize that I approached this project with honesty, driven by my own curiosity and the desire to challenge myself. Now, let me provide you with two pieces of evidence. Firstly, there's a brief clip from a different angle, recorded using that same webcam. Secondly, my primary camera for capturing footage, this Panasonic unfortunately, doesn't support streaming video to the computer. Nevertheless, I've prepared a couple of tricks which I'm about to reveal. The first, as I mentioned earlier, involves using a printout. However, there are a few additional details to consider. Firstly, I've trimmed the sheet slightly to bring it closer to the drawing, making it more convenient to work with. The second aspect involves the small markings on top. These assist in maintaining proper proportions, and though I only have 5 of them, you can certainly add more. Another crucial technical point is positioning while drawing. You'll need to lean over the drawing to view the photo and the paper without any perspective distortion. Typically, easels are used for this purpose, but due to technical limitations, I couldn't utilize them effectively. Imagine the strain on my back after almost 5 hours of drawing. Lastly, about a month before recording this video, I spent some time honing this technique. Honestly, it didn't start off very smoothly for me, but gradually, my skills improved. As you can see, the end result speaks for itself. So, if you have the desire, dedication, and a keen eye, practically anything is achievable. I hope you found this enjoyable. If this video receives a positive response, I'll periodically create similar challenges. That's all for today. See you.